Yeah, the other thing we're doing is I'm going to make some hard cider today. So, which is technically, it's kind of redundant because cider is supposed to be by definition alcoholic, but apparently there's some distinction with North America and Europe and stuff, where cider over here can be non-alcoholic. But anyway, we're making alcoholic cider. And I'm also going to check up on the mead. I purchased a hydrometer, so I know to use that thing now. Yeah, so that should be neat. How has it been sitting? The mead has been in there for a little over... Wait, is it 3 weeks now? Let me check. Almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks tomorrow, I think. Or is it 3 weeks into... What? It's almost 3 weeks. Hold on, let me look at this real quick. It went in on the 4th. So yeah, it'll be a week tomorrow. Or 3 weeks tomorrow. Which is not long enough. It needs to stay in the primary fermentation thing probably a bit longer. I'll start thinking about moving it to secondary fermentation or conditioning or whatever you want to call it in about a week. Anywhere between a week to a month from now probably is when I end up moving it over to another empty container. Again, it's all relative though, so we have to see. It's definitely, I can almost guarantee it's not ready right now. But I'm going to take a small taste test. It's probably not going to be very good right now, but I want a rough idea of what's going on with it. I'm going to get a specific gravity reading on it, which is not... It's not going to be particularly useful for getting an idea. Well, I don't know. I can estimate what the starting value should have been, which I didn't get a value for because I didn't have a hydrometer at the time. Wait, why don't I bring the hydrometer over here and I can show you guys what the hell I'm talking about. Alright, so this thing right here. This is a hydrometer. This is what's used to basically determine alcohol content, but at the same time it also tells you whether or not the yeast is still active, because the numbers will keep changing. So once it stops moving, it means the yeast is done. And there's a specific way of reading this, which probably the webcam's not even... Is that going to focus? No, it's not. Well, whatever. There's lines on here, and it's kind of like reading some sort of thermometer, kind of. It's just different. But anyway, the point is, I know how to use this thing, theoretically. So we're going to test this out. So we'll get a reading on the mead. Now the mead, like I said, I didn't get an initial value for it, so I don't have something. I don't have a baseline to compare it to. So basically, you compare the starting value and the ending value, and then you get alcohol volume, or ABV, alcohol by volume, right? The thing is, I can roughly estimate what the starting value should have been, so I can kind of guess. So yeah, I can get a rough idea of what the alcohol content on this mead currently is, and maybe then we'll take another reading later if it keeps changing, and then we'll get again a rough idea what the alcohol content of the mead is going to be. Now, so this time around, since I'm starting something new, we're doing the cider today, right? We're going to do an apple cider, which is much easier to do. It's going to be kind of disappointing how easy it is, but I got to do a bunch of stuff. It's just one of many things I'll be doing today. I'm going to get a specific gravity reading for that. Well, right away. So I'll get the starting value, and I can basically from that estimate what the final alcohol content of the thing should be. Because what I have here is champagne yeast, and basically champagne yeast is going to annihilate all the sugar completely in the apple cider, the unalcoholic apple juice, essentially the apple juice. Because this has a super high alcohol tolerance, this yeast. Because normally what happens is like yeast will reach a certain point, you'll eat a bunch of the stuff in there, the alcohol content in the liquid gets too high and it dies. This thing will just keep going, and it'll sit in there, and it'll be alive, and it won't reach the tolerance because there won't be enough sugar to create enough alcohol. So, again, theoretically, I should be able... I'll know the starting or the ending value, because the ending value will be 1, and then I'll just figure it out from the starting value. Again, theoretically, if it works that way. So I'm thinking, or rather, I'm hoping also this works really fast as well. Because I just kind of want something quick and easy, just as a test. Because the second thing I'm going to start, despite the fact that the other thing's been there for 3 weeks, the cider should be done before the mead. So yeah. Oh, as you can see, of course, I have a special. I actually purchased a. Did I show this on the webcam? I've been like flailing it around over here, but this is it's a champagne yeast. This packet costs like $1.50 or something. So I went to a store to get this, like a specialty store. And yeah, that's going to be the plan here. Is there anything else I need to talk about before we go and actually do this stuff? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone even know what I'm talking about? Like, I looked this stuff up, therefore I know what I'm talking about. But it might not necessarily be clear to you guys if you haven't, looked this stuff up specifically. One second, I get Kleenex. Been running around like cleaning stuff up and setting things up, so I think I kicked up some dust or something. What else? I guess, yeah, you guys get to see what the mead looks like at this point. There's nothing too exciting going on in there. Doesn't look like the most appetizing thing. It hasn't cleared out yet. There's still just stuff floating in it, so that's why I suspect it, when I do a tiny taste test, it's probably not going to taste like super good. Okay, so test the mead. Well, I gotta sanitize a bunch of stuff, so let's see what I have everything. So I got the airlock for the second thing. This has got to get filled with sanitization fluid. We have the, I've got my yeast somewhere. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right there. Got the hydrometer. I got a graduated cylinder. This is like science class back in high school. That's over in the kitchen, ready to go. I have a turkey baster to squeeze liquid out of stuff. I need to make a little bit of room in the cider bottle. What times do you store these things at? Try to make some beer sometime and store it in my basement. I think it might have been too cold because it didn't ferment all. Yeah, ideally, I think it's supposed to be somewhere between... Do you do Fahrenheit or do you do Celsius? Celsius, I think it's somewhere between 8... I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I think the rough ideal range is supposed to be somewhere between... I want to say 18 and 25 degrees Celsius. If you want to convert that into Fahrenheit, if you need Fahrenheit, I don't really know what that is. I think that's 60-something, upper 60s to something in the 80s. So just kind of like, it's not too hot, it's not too cold kind of thing. But if it gets a bit colder than that or a bit hotter than that, it's probably not, I don't know. Allegedly, it like affects the yeast, like the flavors and stuff that'll happen, but... The thing is, I kind of wondering what I'm going to do with the mead, because it's starting to get colder here, right? And I stored just mine in a cabinet in the kitchen. And, like I said, the temperature's starting to get, like, not cold, but it's starting to get a bit colder. I suspect it's getting colder than... I don't know, what is the temperature right now where I live? Let's check it out. Ooh, outside apparently it's like 4 degrees. Wait, did I give the right... Interestingly, Van Turkey is roughly... It's 1 degree different. Is roughly the same temperature as Vancouver, BC. But of course, inside the house, it's going to be warmer than that, so, you know, it's not... I mean, the yeast inside my mead is still active. It's still like bubbling, and stuff is happening in there. So I think it's okay. Maybe I'll just have to remove it or something. Like I'll put it in a box and just store it in the living room. I don't know, just somewhere warmer. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I guess let's go to the kitchen. Unless anyone has any other questions, concerns, comments, something you want to talk about before we go. Obviously, I'm going to be, you know, when I'm over there, we can still... Like, I'll be talking, just not as much and not in my normal cadence, I guess, because I have to sort of alter the way I'm speaking because the audio sucks from the thing still. Mm-hmm. Alright. I'm gonna go then. I can still see chat from the kitchen as well anyway. So, see you guys in a second. We're swapping over. Actually, in order to, yeah, I'm gonna deactivate my main webcam here for a second. We'll swap over to that guy. You can see my door from there. I'm gonna turn the other mic on. And turn my main off. See you guys over in the kitchen. Gotta get chat open here. What the hell? Oh. Okay, I can now see chat. Kleenex again. I don't know, like I said, I think I kicked some dust up. By the way, can you guys see and hear all this fine? If anyone's there, just let me know in chat. Like I said, I can see chat. So if everything's good, I'll be right back. I gotta get Kleenex. We're good? Okay, thank you. Okay, first order of business, let's, well, I'll bring over the mead so you guys can see it. All right, so that is the mead here. I can move the camera around. Why not?
So you can see there's the raisins and like the hold on. It doesn't look particularly appetizing. It's very cloudy. You can see some of the orange peels and stuff floating around in there. The airlock, as you can see, is still bubbling. I'll keep it here until you guys see a bubble. It's slowed down quite a bit, so it means the yeast is not as active, presumably. I think that's what that means. It's almost a bubble. Ah, there you go, saw it. Exciting. Alright, so that is not there. The lighting's probably not great, so you can't get a decent, maybe not as good of an idea of how cloudy or the color and stuff, but yeah, it's presumably coming along. The stuff at the top is raisins. No, as far as I can tell, there's no mold in there. It would be a big problem and quite unusual, as far as I can tell, if it was mold. I'd have to probably throw it out or probably do something to try and salvage it, but I don't see any clear indications of mold. The closest thing that kind of maybe looks like mold but isn't is I think some of the yeast, the dead yeast that's falling down from the top, is getting caught on some of the orange peels, so it forms like a thin white film, essentially. But yeah, like I'm 90% certain what that is. Oh yeah, also you can probably see at the bottom here. There's all the dead yeast and like crap down at the bottom there. That's the kind of stuff when we transfer this to another bottle, we need to not suck that stuff up. If I moved the stuff around, I could probably give you guys a better view of like under, but like I said, I don't want to disturb this too much. I don't want to move it around. Fermentation? What about fermentation? Fermenting is what it's doing, certainly, yeah. Okay, so we need to sanitize our, right, I need to speak more slowly. I don't remember, if I speak too quickly, words can get cut out, because the audio sucks. So I gotta remember, speak slightly more slowly when we're on camera. So yeah, I'm gonna go grab my tools, which will be sanitized in a bucket over here. It's just off camera. You can kind of see like this black thing here. That's the edge of the bucket. So let's make some sanitization fluid. With this disgusting looking stuff here. I think some kind of iodine-based solution. I'm going to measure out, there's roughly 2 gallons in this bucket here. And it basically what it boils down to is I got to do some math, and we're going to do 0.4 liquid ounces, which is like roughly half a shot. So I'm going to fill up half a shot and put it in there. Don't take a shot of iodine and drink it, by the way. I'm pretty sure that's not good for you. That stuff looks really weird and gross floating out in water before you mix it up. Just stirring it up with a stick here. I guess I could mix it up with my hand, but I need a stick for later anyway, so. And of course the camera turns off. Where does I go and like mess around with water? There we go. Okay, so stir stick is submerged. New airlock. Can I take this sticker off? Like, I guess I probably should. There's a little like barcode on here. Okay, we'll just set this aside for now. That doesn't need sanitize yet. We're using that later. Okay, what else do we need? Hydrometer. Do we get, how are we doing this thing? I am going to, yeah, let's sanitize the hydrometer. It floats, so it's a bit annoying. The graduated cylinder. And the turn baser. Where is my graduated cylinder? I think it's in the other room. I'll be right back. Okay, here you have it. A standard graduated cylinder, 200 milliliters. I want a 100 milliliter one, but they only had 200 milliliters, so whatever. Like science class. Got a little bit of water on my other camera there. I had to wipe it off. Making sure the turkey baster is fully sanitized. Like the bulby bit needs to get put in there. Can't just be obviously the plastic bit. Okay, I think it only needs to stay in there for about a minute. Even that's probably excessive, but we're being safe about things. Okay, so the next thing is, as soon as I'm ready, we're going to take the airlock off of this, and we're going to get a reading. I kind of wonder how you're supposed to sanitize a towel, because you're putting a sanitized object on like something that was just washed at some point. I mean, it's probably fine, but now, since this is going to go into here, I want this to be as dry as possible. I mean, it probably doesn't matter because this is allegedly like food grade, so I don't think it's going to affect the flavor, but may as well just kind of like wing it around a bit. All right. Before we do that, then, because we'll let this dry for just a few minutes here. Or maybe not even a few minutes, like a minute or something. I guess I can, well, no, there's really no point in showing you guys the other cider. It just looks like this. I feel, I don't know, because it's the first time I'm doing this. I feel like I'm forgetting something at all times. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm on track, though. Like, I think I've kept track of everything I need to do. Is the audio and video still okay for you guys? Does anyone have anything to say in that regard? Or does anything at all? Like, I don't think anything would have changed, but again, this is on Wi-Fi, and I don't, well, yeah, it's bad, so. All right, well, this is more or less dry. So, actually, one sec, I'm going to be right back, and then we're going to test this stuff. Okay, so can I get like a confirmation from literally anyone that the audio is okay? It's a constant source of paranoia when you're streaming with this piece of crap phone from my kitchen. Anyone? Do I have to work on the assumption that the audio is broken? Oh, it's good? Okay, thank you. Got it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and test this now. This is going to go right into sanitization. I'm going to fill it with new liquid. This is the first time this has been opened in, yeah, like 3 weeks, so it should be neat. I wonder what it's going to smell like. Smells like fruit, actually, oranges. Nice. Okay, the airlock can float in there, that's fine. Now let's set up the graduated cylinder. annoying. The top, I didn't know the top came off. Okay, I think it's all in there. Now we put the hydrometer in there. You gotta put it in and then give it a spin apparently because gas clings to stuff and blah 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 something. I don't know. Science. Just let it rest for a second there. That is 1.01. I think the smaller lines are 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, they're 2. So 2, 4, 6. So 1. Could someone put this number in chat, by the way, if you don't mind? 1.01. 6. 1.016. Thank you. Okay, now, you know what? While this is going on, I'm going to go back to my computer and figure out what the alcohol percentage roughly of this should be. I'll see you guys in 30 seconds. Okay, I did the calculations over there. Or I went to a web page that did the calculations for me. Allegedly, this is 12.3%-ish. I would say give or take 2%, probably more. I would say this is probably somewhere between 10 and 13%. All right, so I'm going to try this. We'll see if it's poison or not. You know what? This is actually pretty good. Let's move the camera a bit. So I'm actually kind of impressed. This is it's kind of a harsh alcoholic taste a bit, given that it's not done. It's got a nice sort of weird fruity flavor to it. I wish you guys could try this. I'm actually impressed. Like, it's not the greatest thing I've ever tasted, but I was expecting something kind of bad. And I wouldn't mind drinking this. It feels like I would get like a really bad hangover if I drank a lot of this, but it feels a lot more alcoholically harsh than the percentage might indicate. Because if 12%, you expect a wine, it goes down kind of smoothly. This almost has kind of like a little bit of a hard bar bite kind of thing. Like, not that bad, but it's kind of in that direction, which I imagine that'll mellow out over time. I'm just kind of getting like a very kind of raw, harsh alcoholic taste a bit in there. And if you were some kind of alcohol snob, maybe you'd have complaints about that. I actually just kind of like this. I gotta take a drink here. It's also slightly carbonated, because I guess it's still bubbling and releasing CO2. I'll be right back. Drinking it early to give you diarrhea. Yeah, if you drank like an actual amount of it, it'd probably make you sick. I'm just taking like a tiny sip just to get a flavor. I might take a little bit more. Like I said, I actually kind of like this. Okay, and the rest, I'm going to pour back in here, Going to give the raisins and the orange peel a quick stir. Put my drink over here. I'm just refilling up the airlock again with sanitization fluid. Again, same issue last time. These are really tight squeeze. I gotta move this back there because I don't want to push too hard down on this table. It's not like it was just a bit. I'm actually like really cramming it down there, so I don't trust the legs on this table. All right. Well, the Mead. I think I'm done with the Mead. Is there anything else I need to do with this? Thinking it over before I put it away. Take a drink. No, this is going back in the cabinet. And it's going to be done. No. It'll be ready to put in the bottle. Oh no, secondary fermentation to another container somewhere between a week and a month from now. Probably. And now we have today's project, cider. everything back into sanitization. So yeah, for this, the only thing that's going to get added, I might add more things. But for now, I only need to add one thing, which is the yeast. But that requires some steps before we do that. So, all right, we got everything sanitizing. The airlock is the last thing we're going to do, right? The airlock can wait a minute. Sanitize the top of it, why not? Okay, I'm going to need a different container because I need to get the liquid from about here down to about there because it can't be this full. It'll bubble over and stuff. And that's not good. So for now, I'll just transfer some into here. This is not going back in or anything, so I don't need to sanitize it. That looks about right. That's good. I'll drink that later. Okay, so first, let's just put the yeast in. This is the yeast here. It's Lalvin EC1118, which I believe is a champagne yeast. I explained about that earlier. Basically, it's just going to be theoretically a super fast-acting yeast that's going to annihilate all the sugar in here and give me something alcoholic. And I'll sweeten it back up later, which I can also explain. It's a bit of a process, but I can explain that later. But all in all, this is going to be an easier brew, theoretically, than the mead, and much faster. This will be done most likely before the mead is done, even though the mead has been in its thing for like 3 weeks. I'm tempted to use the whole pack because I think that would speed the process up. But I don't know if I should be experimenting when I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, what? Fuck it. Oh, I'm not. No, I can use this yeast for another project. That's what I'm saying. It's going in the fridge. DMCA stuff, I'll talk about that later. Okay. All right. So we need to get a base gravity reading before any kind of like. It's not alcoholic at all. So what basically we're getting a rough idea of how much sugar is in here. This is a basic kind of rough idea. I don't think it's exactly correct, but what's the potential to turn into alcohol? Essentially, is the number that I need right now. You don't need this number, but I didn't do it with the previous one, so I would just like to have it. Again, it shouldn't matter too much, but I don't want to get iodine in here, so just kind of drying things out. All right, get the hydrometer back in there. Gotta wait for it to stop spinning. Allegedly, that's something to do with like getting bubbles off of it so it doesn't float unnecessarily. Get a precise reading as possible. So slightly spinning. It's going to stop on the other side there. Okay, I'll fix the cap in that. What music do I play? It should be Hollow Knight. I haven't checked it in a while. Okay, I think I got a number here. 1.048. Could someone write that down in chat for me, please? 1.048. Actually, it's okay. I remember it, and I can actually put it in the list. I'll be right back. Oh, thank you. Okay, so theoretically, if basically all the sugar perfectly gets converted into alcohol, this should give me something that is 6 I forget what it said over there, but it's like roughly 6.3, 6.4% alcohol at the end of the day. Theoretically. Now that's like our max potential, essentially. So I suspect we're going to get something between 5 and 6% on a cider. That's like standard. Ciders are only between like usually 5 to 7%, right? So now, I could make this slightly more alcoholic by adding stuff. I don't think I'm going to. This is just meant to be a nice simple cider, which I might spice later, and I might carbonate later. All right, now we're just going to set up the airlock and get this sealed up. Okay, same deal again. This is a super tight fit, so I got to take the cider over there so I can really cram it down in. Actually, I just realized something. There's a bit of yeast stuck at the top. I'm going to swirl it around a bit. That's a good tight fit. Okay, so this one is not, it's a little bit different from my Mead. It's not bubbling like immediately. It's probably because there is actually a lot less sugar in this, about half, roughly. I mean, it's going to be roughly half the alcohol, so I suspect it's probably going to take it'll take a little while to get going. If it doesn't get going, I open it back up and I'll put more yeast in. Hell, I could actually also add some sugar, but or honey. If you make mead with apple juice, it's called a cider, apparently. I was kind of considering doing that, but I wanted just a basic mead, or a basic cider. So the other thing too is before it can start bubbling up, all of this has to fill with CO2. Then the oxygen will start getting pushed out. So, well, actually not sure. I guess it slowly starts getting pushed out, but for it to be consistent, push at a consistent pace, I imagine it's all has to get filled with CO2, and then you're going to see the blue at a consistent pace. But yeah, that's kind of it. Now it's just cleaning up, I think. I can't think of anything else to do other than maybe drink a bit more of my mead. I kind of want to pour this into a clear glass just to see the color. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, as you guys can see, it's still pretty cloudy, but it's not supposed to be clear at this stage, so it makes perfect sense. It is clearing up, kind of, though, much clearer than it used to be. Actually, it's clearer than I thought it would be. Because when you look at it just in the carboy, it's pretty murky, or it looks murky, but this is getting some clarity to it, which means all the crap is settling out of it slowly. Oh, very interesting. It's not going to get too much more alcoholic than this. And in fact, I suspect the whole fermentation process might actually be done. I will check up on it on a week, and if it's done, I'm going to transfer it into another thing. And of course, we've got to keep our eye on this guy too. But this will, yeah, I'm going to put this over in the same cabinet. I want to keep my eye on this a bit because when it starts to ferment, I doubt it'll bubble over, but you never know. I'm new to this, so. And suddenly I have 3 gallons of alcohol. Well, 1 gallon of alcohol and 1 gallon of proto-alcohol. Alright, all that remains to do is, I'm going to quickly clean this stuff up and we'll go back to the computer. We'll talk about whatever we need to talk about with this. If anyone's got any questions, comments, concerns, and maybe we'll play some Neil, and I'll finish this drink off in a minute.